I wanted to take a few moments to share something I think is important, whether you're just getting into reading the Bible or you've been reading it for quite a while. And if you've been reading for a while, you might already know just the wonderful age that we live in. The Bible is written in Greek, Hebrew, and Aramaic. Now, you probably don't speak any of those languages, but that's okay, because there have been faithful men and women who have taken the Greek, Hebrew, and Aramaic and have translated the Bible into English. And the reason why I think this is such a great day and age is because we have multiple English translations. And I want to help you try to find a Bible that works for you. And so if you're reading a Bible and you don't understand the language, or it isn't making sense, it's using words that you don't usually use in your everyday language, there might be help in reading a different translation. Now, I'm going to attempt to explain how the translations are different generally, and then share with you some specific translations that you might want to take a look at. The way translations work is if you think about a line, continuum, and on the one side you have what's called a word-for-word translation. That's where the translators looked at a Greek word and then they found an English equivalent to that word. And it's great. I mean, that really needs to be done. And so you've got one Greek word and an English word. Sometimes you have helping verbs that they add in there, but it's one-to-one. On the other side of the continuum are what's called dynamic translations, or a thought for thought. And what they try to do is take the sentence with all the grammar and everything, try to take that thought that the Greek conveys and then get the same thought in English. This is important because in any language there are phrases and idioms that, if you just look at the words involved, might give you the wrong impression. Foreigners come over here and sometimes they're not familiar with our cuisine called hot dogs. They hear us talking about a hot dog and they're thinking, oh my goodness, are you guys really going to eat a dog? And of course we know that's not the case. But someone coming over from another country, they hear hot and they hear dog, and it creates this picture in their mind. Well, that's not really the thought we're trying to convey to them. And so in a Greek word-for-word translation, it would just have those words. In a thought-for-thought translation, it would try to figure out a way that it could convey the thought or the idea of what a hot dog is and convey it in a way that the reader would be able to understand that thought. That's just a simple explanation. I hope that makes sense, because I want to share with you some translations you might want to check out. Now, for a word-for-word translation, you might look at something such as the ESV, or the English Standard Version. It's a very good translation, but it's more word for word. On the other end, I would suggest something like the New Living Translation, or the NLT. It's a thought for thought. It uses modern language, and it's one that I enjoy reading, and maybe you would as well. Now, there's also one called the Message. It's kind of even further out there than what the NLT is, so I kind of like to bring it back in a little bit when I'm reading. But sometimes the Message can give us some thoughts and take us to places where we've not been before, because we haven't looked at the Scripture in the way that it is presenting. The ESV, the English Standard Version, on the one side is good for studying the Bible. The NLT on the other side is good for kind of getting some more insights, spending time in Lectio Divina. Well, we haven't covered that yet, but spending some time in reflecting on the Word. And there's a lot of translations in between. You have the King James Version, KJV is in there. You've got the NIV, the New International Version, is very popular. It's kind of in the middle. The New Revised Standard Version, which I have, is a little bit going toward the thought for thought, but it isn't as far as the New Living Translation or the NLT. And there are other translations too. I didn't even mention the CEV, which I can't remember what that stands for, the HSB, the Good News Bible. I mean, there's so many. My suggestion is to go online. Since you're watching this video, I know you can go online. Go online and go to someplace like Bible Gateway is a good place. Bible.gateway Faithlife.com is another, where you can literally see and read the different translations. YouVersion has an app. They use different translation. Logos Bible has an app, and you can see different translations. Or if you do a search through Google on Bible translations, you can read a little bit more, and some of those articles will actually put side by side the different translations, so you can get a sense of what those translations are like. But maybe what you want to do is, just for a while on your tablet or your phone or your computer, just spend some time reading through a certain translation. And if you want to buy a Bible, there's plenty of Bibles that you can buy in the different translations. But for me, the most important thing is that you're reading the Word and you're spending time with God, and He is forming you through His Word. And I think that's really why you're watching these videos anyway. You want to be formed in the love of Jesus, so that you might love others as He has loved you. Well, blessings. I hope and pray that this video was helpful, and that you find a translation that you want to read, and that you can hear God speaking to you through His words.